Greetings and welcome to another episode of Pop's Collection. I'm Ron Tweedy, joining me as Pops, and today we're going to be talking about The Punisher. Not the Punisher that we've done before, but this is the 1989 Punisher starring Dolph Lundgren.
Yep, we finally did it.
Yeah.
And, it's kind of a public service thing. We are going over this so you don't have to.
Right.
Unless you absolutely want to.
Right.
Which, I have to say, it was released in Germany, October 5th, 1989.
Okay.
And actually was set for a worldwide release in the next couple of months. But, however, it did not release in the U.S. or Sweden or South Africa, I'm sorry.
Okay.
The company that purchased, they actually were new owners for New World at that time.
Okay.
And they really weren't interested in theatrical distribution.
Okay.
So I'm going to assume that they thought maybe it should have gone straight to DVD.
Well, it would have been VHS back in 89.
Oh, that's true. It would have been. But maybe that was their idea, or maybe it was a shady thing that they just did the movie. It only had a $9 million budget, which you saw it. Would you say that they used that $9 million?
Sure. Yeah, most of it went up in flames, but, there were a lot of explosions and, practical effects that, probably made up all of that budget, which, for what it is, at least it's,
Yes. Well, I'm still going to argue that the only way to do a Punisher is by doing a TV series.
Okay.
I just feel that a movie, the character to me is so in depth that you can't tell that story effectively in a movie.
Okay.
I feel.
Yeah. Maybe.
Well, let's face it. This was the first live action attempt at it.
Yeah.
And there was not too many spots where there wasn't action happening.
Mm-hmm.
Good, bad, or indifferent. There was a lot of killing, which is, part of the Punisher thing. But
sure.
I think that and let us start off by saying that this story starts 10 years into the Punisher story. So not an origin story.
Right.
And mostly it's just his vendetta. If you're guilty, you shall be punished.
Right. Well, the other part of it, I think, is, trying to compare it to a contemporary of the same time. You had Batman the same year, right? The Tim Burton version.
That's true.
So, given a comparison between the two, it's almost not really.
It's not even close.
Right. So to me, it's like, I don't know. From a production standpoint, I don't know, what the difference is between them. I'm assuming they took a lot more time with the Batman movie as opposed to the Punisher movie.
If you're listening to this episode, also, you might want to mark the date you listen to it, that Ron actually said that the DC movie was better than a Marvel movie.
I say that all the time. What are you talking about?
Yes. I don't know. Would you say that the audience also got punished with this movie?
I suppose. I mean, it's not a good film. Dolph Lundgren does not look right in this film. He looks sickly.
The makeup
yeah.
on this thing was terrible.
Yeah.
He looked like he was a drug addict.
Right.
I think, and the shadow, his beard shadow, was so bad.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, terrible.
Yeah.
I felt, I don't know, have you ever had this feeling that you're watching something and you said, well, that idea is a good idea.
Sure.
They didn't, I think if they had a better writer with that story,
Mm.
I feel it would be interesting, the Punisher and the Yakuza, you
Yeah,
know?
definitely. I mean, yeah, I agree. I think the concept is right. It's just the execution, not very good. And I think I think part of it's that, and I think the other part of it is that they're trying to, I don't know, I I don't think they really found the audience that they were looking for. I mean, obviously, with the Punisher story, you want something that is, as faithful to the violence of the original story, but at the same time, you're giving it an R rating, and so like you're not letting, I mean, kids ultimately are probably the ones that are going to want to watch it, and it's like, how do you do that? It's hard to
Well,
thread that needle.
it did stray somewhat from the original Marvel character.
Sure.
No skull shirt. Um, he did have use knives and crossbows, which you really didn't get a lot of that
Yeah.
in the comics. They attempted. There actually, most every critic
Hmm.
panned it
Yeah.
terribly, except for TV Guide.
Okay.
They actually gave it a 3 out of 4. The quote was that it was genuinely comic book like and not cartoonish.
Yeah.
I kind of want to disagree with that a little bit.
Well, yeah, particularly going back to the Batman comparison, the way that they created Gotham City, particularly for the '89 film, is a striking difference. Like you really believe that you were in
In Gotham
Gotham.
City,
Exactly.
absolutely.
This one, obviously aside from the set piece at the end where he's at Cody Island, well, towards the end, that's pretty much about it. You really don't have a whole lot of other iconic set pieces. I mean, you have his little lair in the sewer, which was kind of weird, but yeah.
Right. And there were a few shots that to me just totally they didn't do anything to
Yeah.
enhance the movie.
Yeah.
Plus, it was shot in Australia,
Right.
so
But it was supposed to be New York.
it was supposed to be New York. So
Yeah.
I don't know how they chose to do that or how they did do that.
Yeah.
But again, I will argue till I have no breath that it would be better as a series.
Yeah.
And since it was a Netflix series,
Mm-hmm.
I think that we're going to have to revisit that and watch it
Sure.
and maybe do one show on season 1 and one show on season 2. How do you feel about that?
Okay. I think that's fair. We could definitely can handle one episode. Having to do one episode as opposed to the whole entire thing.
Right. Well, what I mean,
Because we did season 1 of Daredevil, and it turned into a 3-parter.
that's right.
So
And it might turn out that way, but we were more specific in that. But again, I remember seeing it, and you say you don't remember.
I have no recollection of it.
Okay,
So.
so I just feel like they told the story a lot better.
Okay.
Than, again, how can you? He is such an in-depth character. I don't know how you could do it in a movie. I would have to say, if anybody could do it in a movie, that director would be something special.
Well, I think Warzone definitely was a good movie for what it is. I think they did a good job with it.
Right, but I just it did leave some blanks for me and some holes that I wish they would have taken care of a little differently. But
Okay.
it was also all 3 movies
Mhm.
are different in the time frame of the Punisher, if you think about it.
Yeah. Agreed.
This one 10 years after the first one with Thomas Jane
Yeah.
was more of an origin, and Warzone was more like 2 years after or 4 years after, something like that.
Sure.
So it was almost not really a continuation,
No,
but
it wasn't.
it was like well, I felt like at the end of the Thomas Jane
Yeah,
one,
yeah,
he was leaving to go fight crime elsewhere.
sure, yeah.
So I felt like that story was
Hmm.
a continuation somewhat in that frame of mind. So, but for its $9 million budget, it did do 30 million in receipts,
Hmm.
and that's minus the USA, South Africa, and Sweden.
Hmm.
So,
Okay.
and I got to imagine that it did well DVD sales too,
Hmm.
only because when I purchased it, my immediate reaction was, wow, this movie, I never heard anything. Was this direct to video?
Right.
I
Yeah.
wasn't sure what happened with it, but
Right.
I had to own it because it was Punisher,
Right. Hmm.
and I do have to say that I own it still.
Yeah.
Not, it's not, definitely not my favorite.
No, definitely not.
Um, and interestingly enough, Christopher Lambert
Hmm.
they talked to him about doing the role, and he, for some reason, I don't know how he would have been as a Punisher character,
Yeah. Don't think I don't see it.
and I definitely don't see Steven Seagal. They said he was interested in it also, but
That seems a little bit more believable to me than Christopher Lambert, but I don't know. It, yeah.
either one.
Yeah. But then again, like thinking about 1989, who would have been a good Punisher? All I can
It
think of is Sylvester Stallone. Probably would be the best one, I would think.
Right, but he's so iconic as Rambo. I don't
Yeah.
know if he could pull it off.
Yeah.
I mean, he is a good action hero actor. What about oh gosh, the guy that played Texas Ranger,
Chuck Norris.
Chuck Norris? Do you think he could have? Because he's in that same time era, isn't
Yeah,
he?
I would say so,
But
but
he's blonde hair,
well, yeah, I mean, there's that.
mustache.
But like the reason why I say Stallone is because he's got the I think the physique, the
Looks.
yeah, I mean he has that. He's Italian, right? And
Yes,
so
yes,
Frank Castle's definitely of Italian origin. So it's like yeah,
yes.
that's why I think it would have been a bit much better role. Maybe they could have given it to his brother. Was it Frank Stallone?
Yes, yeah, yeah. Well,
That might have even been better.
I don't know if you could get any worse.
Right.
So,
Right. And not to say that Dolph Lundgren is a bad actor. I don't think he is. It was a miscasting.
yes,
You know.
yeah, and especially because, in his history, he was a karate
Right.
champion.
Exactly.
So I mean,
And we got a little bit of that.
but not
Towards the
a
end.
whole lot of it.
Which, but the Punisher himself is not like a super martial arts expert anyway. So
No,
it
no,
really doesn't suit.
he's more of a gun guy.
Yeah.
Which
Soldier. He's a
again,
soldier.
Warzone was more
Yeah.
his thing, I think.
Yeah. Definitely.
And I definitely liked it because they had his supplier
Hmm.
brought that from that.
Yeah. No microchip in this film.
Nope, nothing.
No jigsaw in this film.
Nothing.
Which I don't really go to Punisher for the villains anyway, so it's fine that he's going up against crime bosses. That's pretty typical
Yes.
of
Oh yes.
the Frank Castle thing. It's just
See, I feel like that story. If they made the story more about him trying to save the children
Mhm.
instead of it being just like an afterthought towards the end of the movie,
Yeah.
that would have been a better story,
Could have been.
But who's to say? It's hard to say.
Right.
We again don't know all the details with a $9 million budget.
Right.
That doesn't give you a lot of room to mess around. I mean, even Thomas Jane had a bigger budget than that,
Right.
you know?
Right.
So, uh, yeah, for me, the scenery was unbelievable. Just driving the motorcycle
Yeah.
all around, that was, I don't know. Should it, I guess it was okay.
Yeah.
But, driving through the sewers, that was just
Stupid.
Yes, absurd
Yeah.
to say the least.
Yeah.
I couldn't really think of that much positive to say about it.
Well, I would say that the explosions and a lot of the pyrotechnics that they had there, that was definitely serviceable. It wasn't, spectacular, but it wasn't bad either.
Well, I feel that, yeah, but some of them I just felt like they were this spectacular explosion in something that really wasn't that spectacular of something, you know?
Okay.
Like a car running into something, then having an explosion. That
was kind of awesome, actually. All I can think of is the one scene where Hans Moleman in The Simpsons, he drives his car, he crashes, like he bumps into a little tree, and then it just completely catches on fire. I'll probably put a clip in there for that.
No, oh no, I just made my last payment. Ooh.
Well, that's good. That's a good thing. Yes, Simpsons are comics also, so maybe one day we will visit some of the early ones. Maybe. We'll discuss it. Anyways, I have to tell you that this week I also saw The Eternals.
Okay.
And for our listeners, once we get into phase 4, we will review The Eternals. But I'm just going to say right now, I'm struggling to decide which one I think is worse.
Okay.
So,
all right.
That should make you look forward to watching The Eternals.
Sure.
Okay, so before we rate this particular film, let's do a separate rating out of the 3 films and rate them 3, 2, 1.
Okay.
As far as for you, number 3, the worst out of the 3 films.
Oh, that's this one.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
And then number 2, we're going to have to say
Thomas Jane one.
Yes, the first one.
Yeah.
And Warzone, definitely the best one out of all of them.
Agreed.
Which I think a lot of that might have to do because it was the newest one. All right, so we did 1, 2, 3. We decided this is the worst. And a rating on this one.
Yep.
Okay. I'll go first. I will. I'm struggling at this, but I'm going to give it a 3.
Okay.
It's definitely way below average.
Yep.
But again, after seeing The Eternals, I'll rate it a 3.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say 2, so I'll probably keep it at that. It's it's not a good movie, and like I said, the best thing I could say about it is that the practical explosions were done well. That's about it.
Yes, and I just feel like they didn't even use the actors. I believe that even Louis Gossett Jr. was miscast in this movie too.
Sure.
And the bad guy, I could just only think about James Bond. So I really Other than that, well, this is a short episode.
Yep. All right. Well, we'll end it there.
Yes.
Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week with something new. Bye. God bless.
Goodbye. God bless. Tell your friends.